Alright lads, welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be taking a look at the Tornado. For many nations, this is the only rank 8 jet they get access to, and boy, has it been a bit of a disappointment, particularly for RB players. The Tornado is currently available in its ground strike role for the German, British and Italian tech trees. I will predominantly be focusing on the British one, however it is just a copy and paste between all three nations, with minor differences between camouflages and the targeting pod models. All the Tornadoes in game are currently in the rank 8 of their respective tech trees and sit at battle rating 11.3 for arcade, simulator and realistic battles. To unlock the jet you will have to grind out 410,000 research points before purchasing it for the cost of 1,100,000 silver lions. And due to the Tornadoes being tech tree planes, they also have a hefty crew train cost of 310,000 silver lions. We then have the expert and ace qualifications, which normally are important in a top tier jet, but considering the Tornado is basically just a bomb truck, they aren't that important. Regardless, for the expert qualification it's 1,100,000 silver lions, and for the ace qualification it's 3,400 golden eagles. So is the Tornado's high bomb load, deadly AIM-9L missiles, and sophisticated and elegant 1980s look, do all these things make up for the plane's lackluster performance in the current meta? Well, that's a hard choice, I'm going to have to leave that to you. But if you'd like to know more about this plane, stick around for the rest of the video. Alright lads, welcome back, and as usual we'll start with the performance, and all the Tornadoes are powered by the Turbo Union RB199. You have two of these engines, and each of them produce 3,630 kilos of thrust at military power, which increases to 7,020 kilos of thrust when afterburning. With clean wings this gives the plane a climb rate of around 170 meters per second, which for a rank 8 jet isn't really impressive at all. And with my loadout in ground realistic battles consisting of 4 GBUs and 2 AIM-9Ls, that climb rate drops down even more to around 130 meters per second. Don't get me wrong, the Tornado is a powerful aircraft with big engines and pretty good acceleration, but it's certainly no F-16. It's a big plane with lots of avionics. It certainly isn't a light nimble fighter that you can throw around in the sky. Like other swing wing planes, when the wings are fully swept back, the Tornado does have a very good roll rate, as well as pretty good elevator authority. The downside with the Tornado seems to be its rudder. It doesn't really want to function above any sort of combat speeds, which makes it quite hard to get guns onto a target. While not really a problem if you play it in its designated ground strike role, it can be hard for RB mains who are trying to use it as a fighter. But enough about boring engines and roll rates, let's go on to the firepower. The first thing to mention is that while the Tornado does technically have a radar, it doesn't have a search radar like most of the other planes in War Thunder. Instead it only has a track mode. This gives you a small window in the UI, and if you get this box within a range of 3 kilometers of an enemy, it will track the enemy. At best this acts kind of like a radar gun sight in some of the early jets, and it's only really useful for slaving your IR missile. I guess it's better than nothing, but it really doesn't have much functionality in War Thunder. We then move on to the pilot, and as you can see we do have CCIP for our cannons, rockets and bombs, and we also have an RWR, which will give us a warning when we are being tracked by a radar. We then move on to the primary armament of this plane. You have two 27mm Mauser BK-27 cannons, each with 180 rounds of ammunition. These guns have a fire rate of 1700 rounds per minute and generally do hit quite hard. They also have pretty good muzzle velocity, making them quite easy to use in combat. Albeit, as I said, the Tornado does have a bit of an issue with its rudder, so aiming these guns is a little hard, but that's not really the fault of the guns themselves. To keep the Tornado alive, we do also carry some countermeasures. These are not carried on the fuselage of the plane, instead they are carried on the outermost hardpoints in the form of chaff and fleur dispensers. This means to take out flares it will take up one of your hardpoint options, which is a little bit annoying, but that is how it was designed. We'll then move on to our ground strike options, and we have two different types of 1,000 pound bombs. Up first we have the Mark 83s. These will destroy any vehicle within a radius of 11 meters. We also have the 1,000 pound HE Mark 13 bombs. These are slightly better, destroying any vehicle within a radius of 12 meters, a 1 meter difference in explosive radius. All in all, your dumb bombs aren't particularly amazing no matter which of the two you choose to take. And while they are quite good for bombing bases in realistic battles, as you can carry 12 bombs, and 6 bombs are required for a single base, so theoretically you can kill 2 bases in a single takeoff. But apart from that, as I said, the bombs aren't too impressive. We then have a variety of GBUs, or laser guided bombs. First is the Mark 13. This contains 288 grams of TNT equivalent, giving it a very large explosive radius. The Tornado can carry 4 of these bombs, 2 on the centerline hardpoints and then 2 on the inner hardpoints, with the 2 outer hardpoints being for your chaff and fleur dispenser pods. I also take this loadout alongside 2 AIM-9Ls, which we'll cover shortly, and this is my go-to ground strike role. We can go bigger though if you do choose, as we are able to take along the GBU-24 Pavely 3. This is a much larger bomb with nearly double the explosive filler, albeit you can only carry 1 of these. This bomb contains 505 kilos of TNT, which certainly is impressive, but I'd rather have 4 smaller bombs than 1 almighty big bomb. The Mark 13s are more than enough to get a guaranteed kill if it hits a target, so the GBU-24 is a little bit redundant in my opinion. And then finally, we have the AIM-9L Sidewinder. If you've been playing top tier quite a lot recently, you're probably well acquainted with the AIM-9L. It's become pretty infamous for being hard to fleur, particularly if you don't cut your afterburner. But for some reason when I played Tornado with it, my AIM-9Ls just seem to always miss. Maybe it's a skill issue, maybe Guardian just hard-coded it to make the Tornado even more insufferable to play. Anyway, the AIM-9L is an all-aspect infrared guided missile, with a front aspect lock range of 3 km, with 6 km in the rear aspect. While 6 km range is quite a long way for an IR missile, you certainly can push 4 to 5 km if the enemy doesn't try to cut the afterburner or fleur. Those long shots are possible, but I would still recommend trying to get within 2 to 3 km. Or at least that's what I'd recommend if you were playing a good jet. With the Tornado, I'd recommend just not trying to engage in a dogfight at all. Just take bombs, go around the edge of the map, stay low, stay fast, and then just drop bombs on enemy bases or the tanks and stuff like that, and then go back to base and repeat. While you can kind of use this thing as a dogfighter, I guess, if you really want to suffer, it certainly isn't optimized for that role. Sure, you can carry 2 AIM-9Ls, which are theoretically the best IR missiles in the game at the minute, but with the amount of fleurs at top tier and the skilled players, you really aren't going to be getting that many kills. And considering to unlock the Tornado at the minute, you've currently got to go through some of the worst planes in the British tech tree, which means some of the worst planes in the game. It's really not an all enjoyable plane to fly, to be honest, if I'm being honest with you. I have found a love for it that is in top tier British tank battles. I don't have the Tornado for the German tech tree, but I assume the German Tornado is probably the best Tornado in the game. Not because it differs in any way from the other variants, just because German top tier was always lacking a good cash jet. With the Tornado, you can now stay supersonic at around 10k up, completely immune from most of the anti-aircraft vehicles, while dropping Mark 13 bombs on those dirty Tunguskas below you. You can also do that in the British Tornado, which is what I've been doing, but as I said, it's probably most useful in the German tech tree. The Italian tech tree Tornado is also nice, but I don't even think Italy has a 11.3 tank. I think they only have a 10.7 Ariete, so why would you even make yourself suffer even more? Anyway lads, that's going to be all from me today. My voice is still a bit sore. Hopefully I'll fully recover soon. Anyway lads, thank you very much for watching this video. If you did enjoy it, please do consider leaving a like and subscribing. It really does help me out in the algorithm. Be sure to also leave a comment down below, tell me what vehicle you guys like to see me review next. And finally, I'd like to say a big thank you to all of my YouTube members. Anyway lads, thank you very much, and I'll see you in the next review.